when Han Solo and Chewbacca wielded lightsabers. A few weeks after Darth Vader learned that Luke Skywalker was his son, and a bit longer since the destruction of the first Death Star, Luke had gone missing. The young Jedi apprentice had ventured to the smuggler's moon of Nar Shaddaa in search of a ride to the Imperial planet of Coruscant, where Luke hoped to break into the Jedi Temple and learn more about the ways of the Force. Luke was young, still and foolish. Coming to Nar Shaddaa without protection meant that he was an easy target. The moon was filled with criminals, cutthroats, and Hutts. A particular notorious Hutt known as Grakkus learned that Luke was in his territory, and he sent out an order to capture the would-be Jedi and his lightsaber. The Hutt was fascinated with the ancient Jedi Order and was delighted to have a living member in his presence, but he didn't want to learn from Luke. He wanted to be entertained. Grakkus forced Luke to fight in a gladiatorial arena against a gigantic beast known as Congo the Disemboweler. But the fight had drawn attention from forces around the galaxy. Han, Chewie, Leia, and a woman claiming to be Han's first wife, Sana, had come to Nar Shaddaa to rescue Luke, and they were making their way through the arena. At the same time, Vader, having learned of Luke's location, made his own attempt to capture the boy, sending in a squad of stormtroopers, and so the story begins. The grounds surrounding the grand arena were swamped in chaos. Amongst the mass exodus of deathmatch fans running away from the venue, our heroes appeared. Hugging the wall line behind them, they cautiously approached the fighting pit through the sea of people. Han led the group, all armed with blasters. As they progressed, the crowd became too much to wade through. Elbows flailed and arms extended as they tried to pry open spaces to get through. Han instructed the group to meet at the Falcon if they became separated, and order Sana, the smuggler who not so long ago tried to sell Leia to the Empire, was not too pleased to hear. Sana wasn't letting the rebels out of her sight, especially her new cash cow, Princess Leia. She still wanted to sell the rebellion leader. Leia's bounty would be more than enough to give Sana a comfortable existence for the rest of her life. The darkness of the arena walkways, made darker by the crowds as they crammed through the tight spaces, were starting to become unusually illuminated. Leia focused her thoughts on what the crowd must be running away from. Just as she turned to get the group's input, the source of light revealed itself. Congo the Disemboweler was out and crashing through every wall he could. The massive beast, standing over 15 feet tall, with massive bony spikes running down the line of his back, thrashed through every barricade with his cybernetic limbs. He was headed in the group's direction. The rebels quickly realized the great danger they're in. With nothing but blasters, they thought about shooting their way out. But Sana, a bounty hunter who had seen her way through stickier situations, had to remind everyone, blasters don't work. She was right. They would have no effect on the horned beast storming towards them. As the dust cloud blew towards them, the only option the rebels had was to narrowly duck out of the beast's way. They somehow managed to dodge it, but they wouldn't get that lucky again. Now, covered in dust and sand, the heroes collected themselves and their bearings as the beast barreled away. However, with Sana now missing, they were still just as disoriented as they were amidst the now clearing crowd. Then, a spectral light illuminated the wisps of dust. Their savior had arrived, in the form of R2-D2. Before his robotic whistles could offer any explanation for his appearance, the droid's head immediately ejected a series of weapons. 4 lightsabers, salvaged from Grakkus' Jedi collection. Though a heroic moment, Chewie and Han didn't seem to quite understand the importance. Han, known for his ignorance toward the Jedi Order and the Force, and Chewbacca, a fight-first, think-later type warrior, was unsure how to proceed. Great, now some old wizard will be telling me to use the Force, Han said, disappointed that they were down to this as their only option. But Leia was excited. She had always wanted to fight with the hallowed weapon, so she led her allies into the ensuing battle in the arena's fighting pit. They ignited their blades. Leia wielded a light blue saber, Han an emerald one, and Chewie held one of each color in either hand. Han, Chewie, and Leia were now illuminated with electric blue, yellow, and green hues, a truly heroic and somewhat dreamlike sight. Considering the rarity of this occurrence, and the importance it had for the dying Jedi Order, wildly swinging their sabers, the heroes set off into battle, facing off against a small legion of TIE fighter pilots who themselves were fighting against Grakkus. The rebels did the best they could with their unusual weapons. Not long after stepping into the pit, they were reunited with Luke. having just escaped the clutches of the Hutt and his trainer turned Imperial spy, Creel. He was ready to fight alongside his friends. With no time for greetings, they were thrust into action, immediately engulfed by TIE fighter pilots. Surrounded by a gathering crowd of enemies, the colorful nature of the fight just got a lot more sinister. After barreling through a line of enemies, Han and Luke took a rare moment of respite amidst the still raging chaos. As the dust swirled around them, in a minute before the rest of the enemy soldiers made their way to our heroes, R2 was back as a spectral angelic figure, appearing through the mess. In his slender robotic limb, he held the journals of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the book left for Luke by his master. Luke was ecstatic that his book survived. Han was furious that all their lives were being risked for something so minuscule. Without any time to fully explain, Luke assured the smuggler that Grakkus' collection was worth far more, but they needed to leave, now. The stormtrooper reinforcements arrived. Sadly, Han's lightsaber skills weren't developed enough to deal with a threat of this magnitude, nor Luke's. Swiftly, Chewie carried Luke away from danger. They still had the Falcon at least, and they ran off to escape. Despite his protestations, Han insisted Skywalker leave, until he realized something that put their escape in jeopardy. Leia was missing. Just when they thought they were out, they got pulled right back in. Elsewhere, Leia, lightsaber in hand, in an effort to find another missing member of the rescue party. Blasting through stone and dark corners, her electric blue saber broke apart everything in its way. As the princess desperately dug further and further into the structure, she had come back for Sana. The woman who had planned to sell her to Imperials was stuck beneath a fallen stone. Leia could have left her there. Nobody would have known the difference. Sana had already voiced her intentions. She wanted to earn the Imperial bounty that was placed on Leia's head. The Princess of Alderaan had no problems killing Imperial stormtroopers or their allies, but she also believed that actions spoke louder than words. Leia was still alive and not yet in Imperial custody. Even more than that, Sana had helped them find and rescue Luke Skywalker. There was something more to Sana than cold-hearted words. Leia saw it. This woman could be a great ally, a rebel, and perhaps a friend. Though Han would later handle a lightsaber to save Luke again many years later on the ice planet Hoth, this was an extremely rare occurrence. He and Chewbacca were smugglers and skeptics. Their beliefs were worlds away from the Jedi Order, so it wouldn't be a weapon they'd keep in their arsenal for the future. However, it called to Leia in a way she wouldn't understand for years to come. Somehow, it felt perfectly right in her grasp. With Luke freed, for now, and Grakkus apprehended by the Empire, there was time for a regrouping. Skywalker would go on to develop his lightsaber combat skills very quickly. And as his friends have seen now, the particular weapon can get them out of rather sticky situations.